Okay, so to kick off tonight, I am going to try to keep this short and sweet because I know a lot of you guys probably have gifts to wrap or whatever it might be, but I want to just do some recognitions. And so this is going to be more of like you all kind of raising your hand if this applies to you, because we had a absolute tremendous year. I have been coaching for 3 full years now. I'm starting my 4th year as a Beachbody coach. And this is by far like the year that has blown my mind the most. It is what we've achieved wasn't even on my goals at the end of the year last year. We'll just say that. But a couple of things. So one, I want you guys to, and a lot of you guys are fresh and new, but I want to recognize those of you guys who have hit diamond in this year. So in 2017, you're a brand new diamond. So I know. So raise your hand so we can see you and we can all like clap, little yays. I see Trisha, Courtney is on, and those are some new diamonds for this year, and I'm sure we'll have lots of news for next year. If you were a success starter for this year, so that means that you started as a 2017 coach and you hit Success Club in your first 3 months as a coach in 2017. So if you were a success starter for this year. Or if you are, Paige, you're not raising your hand. Goodness. Lisa, you were too, weren't you? Or are you in your 3rd month? Okay. If you are like in qualification right now, I want you to raise your hand. Like you're either in month 1 or month 2 or month 3. Yay, we've got lots of those. I love that. Very cool. If you have hit, now this is a big one. If you've hit Success Club every single month, with the exception of December, but January through November, you have hit Success Club every single month as a coach here, which I think we have just a couple. I know Elena for sure. Awesome. So those are just a couple of things I think are really need to be recognized. We've got a phenomenal team, and I just want you guys to recognize that I value every single one of you guys for sure. I post some 80-day obsession stuff. I'm not even going to get into it because holy moly, it's a lot of information, but I highly recommend looking at those graphics and using them more for your knowledge than for anybody else's knowledge, but hopefully I broke it down in a somewhat simplified version. If you have questions, if you're like, hey, I have this girl, she's interested, she wants this and this, what would be the best? Like right now I have a coach who wants Recover, but she also wants to get back on Shakeology. And so I was like, hold on, let me decide what would be the best value for you. And we've been talking about that. So if you have any questions, shoot me a message and let me know what the situation is, and I can hook you up with what the correct pack is that they need, because all of them kind of sound the same. So I want you guys to make sure that those are, you're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to go over 3 things with us real quick tonight. And hopefully by the end of this, you can have some ideas of goals. How many of you all have started thinking just a little bit maybe about your 2018 goals, maybe personal goals, business goals, any thoughts at all? Okay, a couple of you guys have started thinking. If not, today is a great day to start thinking about those things because you want to start setting some things into motion now. So 3 things I want to talk about is making sure that your goals relate to your personality, but also that you're making them personal to you and your life and your family's life. The second thing is making sure that your goals are realistic to the time that you have for this business and the effort you want to put into it. Okay, and I got some feedback from some of my coaches of how much time they put in, so you'll be able to see the range of how much time coaches that are seeing success are putting into this business each week. And then the third thing I want to talk about is how to work backwards from a yearly goal and turn it into monthly and weekly goals, and then how to have some non-negotiables in your business. Because any person that is seeing success, they have daily non-negotiables, at least weekly non-negotiables that they are doing every single day or every single week. And that consistency over time is showing that. So I want to kind of walk through how you would do that real simply. Okay, so the first thing, that your goals are related to your personality and that you're making them personal. I did not make my goals personal for probably the first 6 months in this business. I had a really rough start. I had no idea really kind of what I was doing or what I wanted to do with this business. I was not a success starter. I did not hit diamond. I didn't do any of that fancy stuff in my first 6 months as a business. I will be 100% honest with you guys. Like I said, I am a yellow, so I love fun and things that are fun. If it's fun, I'll do it. If it's not fun, I'm probably not going to be doing it all that long. And I'm white, so I just want to help people. I just want to make a difference in the world. And so I don't know if you noticed, but not a whole lot of like top coaches, successful business people are all about fun and just helping people. Most of them have a little bit of that. They want to be a leader. They want to hit goals, things like that. So I wasn't exactly set up, I guess, for my personality to be like this goal-crushing babe by any means. But I adjusted. When I first started, the idea of hitting Success Club, rank advancing, setting number goals of like, I want to help a certain number of people, all of that made me feel really icky when I started. And I'm being 100% real with you guys. And the reason I think is because I didn't make those goals personal to who I was. I saw Success Club as just this crazy number out there. And I was like, okay, well, I don't really care about that. Like, whoop-de-doo, if I hit Success Club 5, like that's no big deal to me. But I had to make it work for me. And so I started turning, instead of Success Club, I started turning it into the number of lives I wanted to change. So if you're like me and you're having a hard time with like Beachbody's benchmarks of success, take those benchmarks, because you bet I helped at least 3 people a month once I figured it out, at least, and turn it into something that applies to you and that goes along with your personality and makes you feel good. If you're a blue personality and you're all about building relationships, I don't know how else you build a relationship besides get someone in your challenge group. Like, you will build a relationship very quickly with them. And the more people you help, the more relationships you have and the deeper you can go with people. But I did start becoming more red, if you will. And the way I did that, so I started setting real goals and setting things that I wanted to achieve. And the way I did that was I started reading books. I started reading books about setting goals and about becoming a leader and things like that. A couple of books that I remember my first summer, so about 6 months in, I read a book called 6 Months to Six Figures. And I don't know if anybody else has read that. It's by, I'm going to like blank on who it's by. But he like took the whole idea of like success and setting goals and made it very simplified, like really broke it down and made it really basic. And for me, I needed that. I got the book. I did not listen to it on Audible because he has you write in the book and has like little assignments. And I needed that so badly. And I still have the book because it was like the turning point in my business. And so that's when I definitely recommend, if you're having a hard time setting monthly goals, 6 months to six figures was awesome. Now, obviously, I did not hit 6 figures in 6 months. That was not the whole point of the book, though. Another book that I really loved about leadership was called EntreLeadership, and that is by, I think it's by Dave Ramsey, actually. But Entre, like entrepreneur, EntreLeadership. That one was one of the top books that really made me start thinking about goals in a different way and made them more personal to myself. Okay, so for me, I've been one of those coaches. Now I'm going to get into a little bit more nitty gritty. I'm one of those coaches who's very much motivated. At first I was motivated by the numbers of lives, but when I made it personal and started thinking about what can this do for my family, I started looking at, okay, so obviously I'm changing lives. That's what we do. But I was motivated by hitting financial goals for my family. And so for me, income meant freedom. It meant that I had a choice with my career and what I did with my time. It gave me peace and it gave me calm, because I don't know about you all, if you've had financial strain in your relationships or in your life or at some point in time, there's nothing more that causes stress and animosity between people and frustration and fighting. And so I knew that if I wanted this peaceful, calm, white personality lifestyle, I had to make sure that we were in a financially great place. And so I started that's how I have seen success, because I started thinking, okay, this year I want to accomplish this. This year I want to accomplish this. And I broke it down. So my first big goal was I wanted to buy a house. And so I wanted to get rid of renting. I was thinking of every month I'm spending all this money on rent, and I wanted to buy my own house. And 6 months in, I was able to do that. And then we started looking at getting married eventually. I met Zach and we started talking about getting married. And so I figured, okay, this coaching income is going to pay for my wedding. And so every month I would set monthly goals about this month is going to pay for the photographer. This month is going to pay for half of the venue. This month is going to pay for, because we paid for everything except for the food and the DJ, basically, and alcohol. But we paid for all that extra stuff, basically, the flowers and all that stuff. So 1 month, for a couple of weeks, I was like, these 2 weeks, I'm going to make enough to pay for the flowers. And those little, very personable, tangible goals were so motivating to me. And then we start talking a little bit more. We're getting closer to the wedding, and I started realizing, you've got a whole lot of student loan debt, Zach. Let's make sure that gets paid off. And so you probably heard me post about that. That was I'm trying to look at my notes here, year 3 of coaching this last year. That was a huge push for us. And there was nothing more motivating than every month setting a goal of so much of, this little loan. Because, if you guys have student loans, they're broken into little bitty chunks. And so they look small, but there's 10 little bitty chunks. And so I was like, okay, what's our next one? What's the next amount? What's the next amount? We're going to pay that one. We're going to do this one. And it was with his help also that we were able to pay off those close to $50,000 in student loans and close to $10,000 in my car loan, because we wanted to be debt free. We wanted to get rid of all of it. And so, I'm looking forward to this year, and I'm stinking excited, because I'm we are debt free, but now I want full financial freedom. And so we're looking at let's pay off a chunk of our house. How cool would that be that my coaching income gets to pay off my goal? Zach doesn't think, this is another thing about goals. You have to set them so big that other people don't think they're going to happen. So I said, we're going to pay off a third of our house this year. And he's like, we are not going to pay off a third of our house. Do you realize monthly how much that is? And I was like, well, we don't have to pay off all of it in January. I've got 12 months to do this. And so just him doubting me made me even want it even more. And I was like, I don't care. And so I started breaking it down, monthly, here's what my income would have to go towards it, because we have a certain amount coming out of his income. And so that was a huge thing. And we would love to give more. I would love nothing more than to give more to our church and give more to the things that have grown our relationship. And so that's my goal, pay off a percentage of our house and to give more. And it's such a cool place to be here. But it took breaking it down and making it personal, because it was not at first. And so if you haven't made this business personal and really seen what it can do, and maybe it is literally you want to pay for your Shakeology and get your nails done once a month. If that is your goal, by golly, that's personal. If that's important to you, maybe it is going to Target and not feeling guilty spending $100 at Target this month. Whatever it is for you, but make it sit down right now and really think about what is going to bring me more peace in my life. What is that thing that kind of keeps me up at night, that makes me worried about? Because you can work this business and it will show. It will come to be. Okay, but with that, your goals have to be super realistic with the time that you have to spend on this business. And there has to be a little bit of effort and sacrifice brought in. Right now, I feel like I've got all the time in the world to work on this business, but it wasn't always that case. There was a time where I did teach full time and I did, do other things. And it was I was waking up early. I was working in the morning. I was going to teach. I was coming home to work. I was spending time with Zach, and then I was working again at night. And the reason I did that was because I saw this moment. I saw what I have now, and I knew that it was possible. So I want you to think about, along with your goals, how many hours do you have to dedicate to this business a week? You know, how many are you, what are you willing to sacrifice? Is it TV time? Is it an hour of sleep so you get up earlier and you get your kind of workout in and things like that so you can work your business later on, or whatever works for your schedule? But really think about it. For me, it was TV. Like, I barely watched TV the first 2 years as a coach, and I was totally okay with that. Like, I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. I started, you know, we caught up on This Is Us this year, which I was like, oh, that's what everybody was talking about all of those years. Like, that's a really good show. But I just didn't, because to me, that wasn't important. What was important to me was the fact that I was going to be home with this baby that I'm now carrying. Like, that's what was in my mind the whole time, that I was like, oh, The Bachelor would be fun to watch. Oh, that's okay though. I have this person to reach out to, and I have this to do. One thing that always stuck in my mind was the quote of like, is this the best use of my time right now? So I was always thinking, like, when I started scrolling Facebook, is this the best use of my time right now? No, I should be creating a post, not scrolling. Is this, whenever I was watching TV, maybe, is this the best use of my time right now? Probably not. When I was just laying down or, just doing something, I was always thinking that in my mind. So I asked a couple of girls on our team what their average was that they worked. And these are girls that are definitely, I'm not going to say names by any means, but I had anywhere from 7, 8 hours all the way up to 20 or 30 hours. And I won't lie, I was the one that said 30 hours. I didn't work 30 hours when I was working full time. But I will admit that I rarely work more than 30 hours on this now as my full-time job. So I would say on average, I do about 20 to 30 hours now. Even when I was pushing and working full-time, I probably worked at least 15 to 20 hours. But I would say the average was about 10 hours a week. That is 2 hours a day if you do Monday through Friday. It's 1 hour if you do Monday through Friday, and 5 hours on the weekend, something like that. That's kind of was my thing. Was I tried to get at least an hour in a day, and then I would try to do at least 2 hours on like a Saturday morning or a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday evening, or wherever in the weekend I had a little bit of downtime. I would try to get a mass planning session done then. And then I would do like the day-to-day of conversations and making sure my posts were out and things like that. Kind of the maintenance stuff during the week and the planning on the weekend. And so to me, that is a great amount of time. Like, you're not going to find a part-time job that you get to work those little of hours, I feel like, and get to see the results in the long run that some of us have been able to see, for sure. Okay, so a little bit more nitty-gritty, working backwards. What I want you to do right now is to think about like this time next year. What would you have loved to accomplish? Maybe it is an income. Maybe you do have a debt that you're thinking of that, like, oh, I'd love to pay off this credit card. It like hangs over every month. I get that bill. I would love for this to be paid by the end of the year. Or maybe it is a student loan, or maybe it's whatever it is to you. Maybe it is a rank. Maybe you're very motivated by Beachbody's kind of recognition system, and you're like, I really want to hit this rank. Or, I got to go to what's called New Leadership Conference last February, and it was awesome. Like, that would have been on my goal board if I had known about it. I didn't really know about it. It just kind of happened. But that would have been something, because I love fun and I love the events that Beachbody puts on. Maybe it is a certain number, like an actual number of people over the entire year that you want to help. I don't remember. I wrote down a number last year, but I didn't really stick to it very closely. But I did write down a number, and I broke it down by month. Like, if I help so many women each month over the year, it would be this amount. So whatever that might be. So write down that yearly goal. And then I want you to break it down of what's called 12-week. If you haven't read the book, The 12-Week Year, you need to get the 12-week year. Read that before 6 months to six figures because it's really, really good. But the 12-week year says to basically break it down into like quarterly things. So if you have this big yearly goal, break it down into fourths. Okay, so for example, I'm trying to think of one of mine. I have like an income I would like to make by next year this time, like a monthly income, because this is one of our soul, this is our soul family's income. And so I broke it down of like by April, I would need to have this. By July, it would need to be this. By September, it would need to be this in order for me to be on track. So think about your goals and break them into fourths. And then it would be January, February, March. Yeah, by April 1st, that would be 12 weeks. By July 1st, by October 1st. Am I doing that right? October, November, December. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to break it up into every 3 months. And so break that into the quarters, and Beachbody breaks their system into quarters also. There's different recognitions for each quarter. And then break it even closer into monthly goals. And monthly is a little bit more tricky just because, there's different things you need to get into. Like a monthly non-negotiable is always a certain number of women that I want to help every month, a kind of a bare minimum of women that are going to be in my challenge group, new with challenge packs or completion packs or whatever it might be. And then trying to think of what else for monthly. Certain, if you have, that big kind of a debt goal or something like that, what monthly would you like to pay on it, basically? And then from there, I've kind of broken it into weekly, but my weekly ones aren't necessarily goals. They're much more of action steps. So it's kind of like, what are the actions that I need to take to get to those monthly goals? What are the actions I need to take to get to those things? So I would love to hear, since I feel like I've rambled for a little bit, we've got a couple of minutes left. If anybody has a big yearly goal that they're excited, maybe nervous, something like that to share, I would love to hear them. And just kind of, I will be asking you guys for your goals here by the beginning of the year. So if you want to share it now, I'd love to hear it and kind of get other people motivated and excited. Or maybe it's just, a goal that you have for the year.
I have one.
Yeah, go for it, Paige.
Okay, it's huge, but you have taught me to have big goals rather than just the ones that I can for sure meet. So my huge goal would be to pay off our debt, our student loans, by the end of 2018, which is $40,000. So that's a huge goal, but that's what I'm working towards.
I love it. That is a scary one, right? Have you told your husband that one?
But it would be amazing. That would just be, I just can't even imagine.
Does Ethan know about it?
Yes. I have not told him that I would love to do it within the next year. He would be stoked about it, and he would be super encouraging. But in the back of his head, he'd be like, yeah, okay.
For sure. Definitely take that one and work it backwards, even to the point of working it all the way to how many women you would need to help each month to do that. That's a lot of women to help, but it's doable.
That is a lot.
It's doable for sure.
It is.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. That makes me feel so good. Okay, anybody else? Go for it.
I'll go. Mine is also regarding those terrible student loans. So I currently pay out of just like my teacher paycheck every month. I currently pay $600 a month towards my student loans. Like from the get-go, I started out at $500 and then I changed it and I bumped up to $600. And so my goal would be my initial goal is for that $600 to 100% come from just my Beachbody income. like no longer come out of my teacher paycheck. But in conjunction with that, I would be willing to still pay the $600, since I'm already used to paying that $600 every month out of my teacher paycheck, but then maybe adding where I'm paying a total of $1,000 a month towards my student loans. So either like $600 from my teacher paycheck and $400 from my Beachbody or whatever, however I can make that work, where I would do $1,000 a month towards my student loans. I started out I graduated in May of 2016. I've been working for a year and a half now, and I started out at 70, right at 70,000. And so after doing the 500 last year, I was able to pay off like $6,000 last year, and then now for the half month. So I'm still at, right around 60 right now. But so if I could start paying off though, like $1,000 a month, I mean, I would just be flying through that way faster, so that's mine.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. That's really exciting. And we've talked a little bit about that before, I feel like. So I love that. One thing I forgot to share, I had it in my notes, but I was flying through it. If you have not yet, and if you are like, I'm going to make this business work, you need to open up a separate checking account for your Beachbody income. When I did that, it was so nice to have my Shakeology taken out of there, have the little gifts that I give away or do come out of my coaching income. So I didn't feel guilty about it. It was like, okay, this is my coaching income. And then it feels really good. Oh my goodness. It feels really good to be like, babe, I paid this amount of money towards the debt this week or whatever it was. It feels good to know where that was coming from and that it's your hard work that did that. That's really cool. And like, get to help people along the way. Like win-win is really cool. So I definitely recommend opening up, at least ours was free. You just open up a separate business account. It's linked to my regular account. Like it's super easy to control and do. I even got a little business debit card to help with all of it. So, okay. Any others that you guys would like to share? Go for it, Lisa, if you want to take yourself off mute.
I was going to say, can you hear me?
I can now. Yeah.
Okay, good. My initial goal, we're under contract on a house and our closing date is January 24th. So I would love to at least cover utilities, the extra with Beachbody income. And my huge goal for like end of year would be to maybe cover at least 2/3 of like the house payment and utilities with Beachbody income. That would be mine. Just that way other money can be dispersed towards our school loans. I won't even tell you guys, I'm a little envious of your school loan debt because I would trade you in a heartbeat. So that's not on my radar quite yet, but that way we can maybe pay extra from what we would typically put towards home costs. So that's mine.
That's a really exciting one for sure. New homes are exciting.
Yeah, so it's a little more motivation with the home now than it was before to make the business work, I should say.
Definitely. When you make it that personal and you make it like, oh my gosh, this can really affect this, and then it becomes a non-negotiable. It's not just, oh, this is fun, or maybe it'll work out, or hopefully it works out. It's like, this is going to work out and I'm going to make it happen for sure. Okay. Anybody else want to share some of their year goals?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Miss Jessica.
Mine is my student loan also, because my husband has never had a student loan because his parents paid for his college, so he always tells me, well, we got to pay that student loan again. But he's kidding, of course, but that would be mine, which mine is only, I say only, $19,000 now, because when we were building our house, we lived with my parents for 6 months, so rent-free and everything, so I paid a chunk off of it when we lived with them, luckily, but still have quite a bit to pay, so that would be my goal.
I love it. I love it. These are awesome. Thank you guys for sharing.
Okay, I'll go. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so mine's kind of cool. I mean, I have student loans too, so I'm always working at that. But I I need to start posting about this more. So probably next summer, we're going to start trying for a baby. And my work doesn't cover all of maternity leave. So I want to make up the difference with my coaching income. So
I love that. Yeah, I would definitely start posting about that when you feel comfortable. I know some people want to keep that. I was like, we're going to try on this date. I'll share the whole thing, but when you feel comfortable, that'd be very cool. That is a fun one. I know you've posted a lot about your income going towards helping you guys travel and really see things. So I love that you share about that, because I think travel is something that is, you know, now we're looking at it going, oh my gosh, when's the next time we're even going to be able to travel? So it's a privilege that you've been able to do, and thanks to Beachbody, been able to, you know, help out with that.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Anybody else?
Hey.
Hey.
So I have a couple different ones. Obviously, student debt is a huge one for us. We probably still have like $30,000 in debt, and we've been paying on it for over 8 years now. So, so I'm kind of with Lisa on that one with the insane amount. But we also have medical debt from having our sweet baby and having my other daughter have an ER visit this summer. Just been a really expensive year. So just being able to use the snowball effect for those of you that know Dave Ramsey, and start tackling those debts one at a time, and just getting that taken care of. But then also some of my bigger goals are to be able to fully fund a family beach vacation, because our toddler has been talking about wanting to go to the beach. And so we would love to do that this summer, because our girls, their birthdays are like 5 days apart. So to be able to do that this summer and maybe do it as a birthday gift sort of thing. Probably my scariest goal in a way, yes, debt is scary, but I know that will happen, is to be able to, by the end of the second, maybe third quarter, to be having my Beachbody income matching my husband's, so that I can start relieving a little bit of a load off him. Sorry for the loudness in the background. So that he doesn't feel this pressure and burden that's kind of been on him since I've been staying home with our girls more and just things like that. But also to be able to allow me to, if I get to a point, hey, I'm on the video. If I get to a point where I don't want to teach any of my fitness classes anymore, I don't have to. And that I would like to be at that point by the end of the first quarter. So, because I'm close-ish now, but with all this debt, that's what's kind of got me. So those are my biggest goals right now. Financial, and then tying those to what that can do for my family. So I'll get on mute since I'm loud.
Always eventful, Elena's house. Okay, anybody else willing to share? All right. Okay, for those of you all that were kind of quiet, if you would like to talk more about what are some realistic goals to set in your first year, what are some things that maybe you could work towards, I would love to talk through it. It seems like maybe we need to have a call or something about debt and snowballing debt and things like that, because I tell you, it was not like, oh man, I'm just, raking in money, paying off this debt. No, we were very, very smart with our spending, with how we did that. And so I became very passionate. Dave Ramsey is my bestie. Like, I feel like him and I are like this. So that might be a fun call to do at some point in time. That's maybe a little bit more personal and less coach oriented, maybe more digging into budgets and that kind of fun stuff. It's a blast, let me tell you. So, okay, so if there's nothing else, Lisa would love that. Yay, a little feedback. I'm going to go ahead and end the call, then I will get this posted, and then I will probably be asking for you guys to maybe share your big scary goals and start working on, we'll start talking about kind of what does that look like for the month to month thing. How do you actually make that happen? Because saying it and making it happen are two completely different things, but it can be done, and I love it. Thank you guys for those that shared and those that made it a point to be on tonight. That means the world to me to be able to see your all's faces. So I will talk to y'all later, and have a good rest of your evening.